For us, it's a load of fun. For us, it's a time to get together, maybe without the enormous crowds of Comic-Con, a more intimate venue. We got a full house tonight, which means you guys have raised over $5,000. For Operation Smile. This is a program giving kids with a cleft palate a chance, and I want to make sure you understand the severity of what a lot of these kids are going through. We have babies being born who are malnourished because their cleft palate is so severe, food won't go down. You guys have helped 80 kids today. This group alone, 80 children. Very nicely done. I learned a buzzword today. It's called housekeeping. A host will do housekeeping. That means I tell you that you guys take as many pictures as you like. Flash photography, not so much. Don't take video. We have that taken care of with a couple of amazing, talented cameramen in our midst. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll take care of the video for you. You can get the hold of this on the internet as well later on. I am going to say, without further ado, please welcome Tiny Commando. We have Ed Helms, Zac Levi, Jillian Jacobs, and Ryan McFall. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, you guys. Tiny Commando. What? Whose idea was this?
I'll take the bullet on that. This is it came from my brain, which is still
Huge.
and still very immature. I was obsessed with radio-controlled toys as a child and as an adult. And I thought, you know, if there's a way to do a show that's all about radio-controlled toys, maybe it's about a little guy who drives them. And then I thought, who better to be that little guy than Zac Levi? And then we have... So it's basically...
Because I'm so small.
Yeah, right. So basically, you said that. I didn't say that. So it's basically a show about a 4-inch tall former Navy SEAL who was shrunk in a weapons experiment gone awry, and he has now started a private detective agency with his girl Friday, the fabulous Jillian Jacobs, ladies and gentlemen. And I appear in the series as the arch villain, who is also 4 inches tall, Cesar Pequeño. Because I am also very small. No.
Hey, we got Nathan a chair, everybody. It was a little fun watching you sit there on the stage cross-legged, though. It's like, and then what happened? When you came up with this crazy idea and then you brought it to Ryan, how was that process?
Right. Okay. So yeah, the idea was basically an excuse to do action sequences with tiny radio-controlled toys. And Ryan is an old friend from New York City. When I did improv comedy there, he was directing music videos and all kinds of cool little short films for friends of mine. This is Ryan McFall, by the way.
Hello.
It's actually Fred Armisen playing Ryan McFall.
I do get that.
I mean, it is uncanny, people.
It is. It is.
This is an episode of Portlandia. None of this is true. But I knew Ryan, and he had recently done some incredible commercials featuring some miniature work. And so I pitched him the idea. We roped in my writer friend, Jake Fleischer, and put a bunch of episodes together. And Ryan shot them. We all appear in them, and they're delightful, and they'll be appearing on Yahoo this fall. Yes. I think we're done.
And before we go to questions, would you like to see an episode of Tiny Commando? All right, well, then maybe we'll show you one. We have it queued up, yes? Do we have it queued up? Fantastic. Oh, thank you. You're doing double duty, sir. Let's go ahead and play that.
Gotta say, we were pretty surprised to get your call. You guys got a problem, huh?
We do have a problem.
A space problem.
You're familiar with the Mars rover?
Yes, it's been sending back gorgeous pictures.
Rover hasn't sent us anything in over 2 months. Here, take a look at this.
I don't know what the problem is. That's Mars.
Right, but that's actually this. It's me at the Grand Canyon with my wife. We've been working around the clock to Photoshop us out.
Now, before the rover stopped transmitting, it sent us this.
I still don't understand why you need the help of a tiny detective agency.
Tiny is the key word. If the Martians have the rover, we need somebody up their stat. And the only space-ready equipment we have is prototypes. 1/8 scale prototypes. Tiny, your country, your planet. They need you to go to Mars.
I'll do it.
Who has 2 thumbs and is currently on Mars? This guy.
Oh, I would have said, you've got Mars, like, you've got mail.
Yeah, what about like, Houston, you've got awesome. I'm not a jokes guy.
You know, I was thinking about that. I was trying to say it like that, but Wait a minute. Shouldn't there be like a communication delay or something?
Oh, we're using next-gen technology.
Right, but given Mars's current orbit, it's at least 20...
It's next-gen technology, okay?
Okay, gosh, jeez. Well, I'm here, so how do I find this rover anyway? Nice prototype. Woo, baby! I am loving this low gravity. Oh, I got rover tracks. Guys, I've got visual on our rover.
Do the Martians have it? What are they doing with it?
They're, joyriding, I think. Hold on. How can I understand Martian?
Well, your suit has a built-in translator.
Still, I mean, it's Martian, right? I mean, we don't even have a linguistic baseline, phonetic key.
Next-gen technology,
It's
okay?
next-gen technology.
Next-gen technology.
Eugene.
Well, this is what we feared, all right? Now, it's fallen in enemy hands. Arm the self-destruct.
What, you'll kill all the Martians?
That rover contains secret Earth technology, okay? Those Martians could begin analyzing soil or collecting rocks, or worse.
This is our first encounter with intelligent alien species.
First and last. Self-destruct. In 5, 4, 3, 2... One!
No, please. Look, just give me a chance. One chance.
Fine, you got 1 hour. Recover the rover. But if those Martians use that thing to destroy the Earth, don't bother coming home.
I'm coming for you. Martians.
That is crazy! You look no What the hell is you?
Noble people of Mars.
What is that?
I come from Earth. Blue planet. Third from your sun. I come seeking friendship and the amicable return of our most valuable property.
That thing's gonna try to climb up our nostril. Walk in
No,
my cave and talk to me like that.
I guess this translator's only working one way.
You know what? We gonna come get you. We gonna get you. We gonna kill you, Mars Bug. We gonna kill you. Oh, you can run.
Oh, I really gotta get these shots tightened. I am both thrilled and terrified. All right, Martians, you want me? Come and get me.
Oh no!
We got you, you little sucker. Popped him like a little Mars pimple.
Hey, guys.
Tiny, you're alive!
You bet. Now, who knows how to disable a Martian rover? I can pull some of these wires.
No. That rover has a nuclear core. You pull the wrong wire, it could detonate.
You can only pull the red wire.
Okay, maybe it's just Mars playing tricks on me, but all these wires look red.
You need to pull out the passion red wire.
Oh, did you get that tiny passion red?
The heck is passion red?
It's like a not slutty, but sort of sultry red.
Off
Pomegranate.
crimson
Like a
or
Merlot,
deep
but like a Melanie Griffith
a
working girl
sultry
red.
It's the shade you'd wear out, but not out.
But I pull all these outs.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
Where'd it go?
Why stop?
Why are you stopping? Keep going.
What the heck's going on?
I said keep going.
Keep going.
It's
God
definitely
dang.
not going anywhere.
Oh, that was a good find, too. Shoot. Hey,
All right,
give
come
me
on.
one of them, though.
You know what I'm thinking?
Just hand it to me.
No, okay.
Right. Hey, I got an idea.
Well, maybe not intelligent life.
This is our chance. Shoot him with the Mars drone, and we'll be rid of this tiny commando forever.
We're on a 20-minute delay. He's already gone.
I don't understand. Why are we on a 20-minute delay?
I don't know. I said you should pay for the next-gen technology. You cut back.
I know, but you said it while I was getting a manicure, and I was very distracted.
I tried to tell you.
Don't turn these tables, okay? Your henchman skills are severely lacking. You did say, Cesar Pequeño, you should get the next-gen technology, and I didn't do it. Why didn't you cut out the middleman and do it yourself?
I mean, that's pretty fun, right? This guy, and that guy, and the lovely Gillian Jacobs, everyone.
You know, you probably couldn't tell, but one of those Martians is also the fabulous Taron Killam from Saturday Night Live. Oh, wow. Yeah. But we put too much makeup on him, so you can't tell. And why are the Martians rednecks? Well, that we did a lot of research. It just turns out that's actually the case.
It seemed most likely.
Yeah.
Based on everything we knew about Martian life.
I know that in the entertainment industry, there's a lot of guilds and unions. Specific jobs have to be specific people. Who drives an RC car? Is there a union for that? Or is there special
RC
training?
Teamsters.
RC Teamsters.
Yeah. They're little tiny robotic Teamsters. No. Ryan, why don't you talk about, we actually teamed up with some amazing RC hobbyists and professionals and enthusiasts, and we just had an epic team. Each episode, this one kind of featured the dune buggy RC vehicle, but each episode features different vehicles, motorcycles, helicopters, even RC jet planes, and they're really, really cool, fun things. And so we roped in some really professional people.
Yeah, we found a guy who actually is a real pilot. He's a helicopter pilot. He does aerial photography, but he also does every kind of radio control vehicle under the sun. And so we, began with him. We were just talking to him about helicopters and planes and jets, and it turned out he knew everything and was part of a whole community of people. And with this whole series, we have 6 episodes. Each one we kind of built around different vehicles and different action set pieces we wanted to do. So we have jets, we have helicopters, motorcycles,
Lawnmowers.
we have lawnmowers, we have many things. So yeah, we had a whole team of people actually. So Justin was our lead guy, but then we did one that was like a drift racing episode, and for that we had 5 cars that were just like the character cars, and then we had all these background cars. So it was ridiculous. We had 20 extras in the scene, and then we probably had another 12 people driving radio-controlled cars behind the camera.
Yeah, and that episode's sort of loosely based on the Too Fast, Too Furious kind of narrative. So,
yeah.
Or I should say Fast and Furious.
Well, and there's also some touches of drive in there. My character is
for sure.
very Ryan Gosling, which I was very happy about.
You mentioned the lawnmower. Our friend Justin built a lawnmower that flies.
Yes.
Because there's an episode about a lawnmower that becomes self-aware and starts terrorizing people.
It's amazing.
And so it actually can fly, and he built a radio-controlled flying lawnmower that you have to see to believe. It's awesome.
Who's got a microphone? Who wants to ask a question? Oh, right there, yes.
Hi, huge fans of all 3 of you. You probably represent like my 3 favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, Ryan, forget you.
I'm really excited.
Unless you were referring to those 3, and I get it. No, I got it.
It's worth pointing out, Ryan also has directed countless episodes of
NTSF, SD, SUV.
Of course.
Is anybody coming to their panel, by the way? Yeah.
Great show.
So I watched the trailer. It looks hilarious. My question for you is, if you were tiny in real life, what would you do?
There's some great things you could do.
I've always felt like if you could be invisible or really tiny, like I'd sneak into a lot of places. Where I would sneak into, I'm not going to tell you.
Movies.
The movies. I remember when I was a kid and I would go to Disneyland, I was thinking, if I could just like teleport, and of course these are the things you think about, like if you had the power to teleport, it would be, I could just get on the other side of the Disneyland gate. You can teleport, for God's sake. Go somewhere fun, like Disneyland. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do if I was super, super small. Probably this kind of stuff, honestly. Ed?
If I were that small, if I was like 4 inches tall, I would just be a billionaire from personal appearances, right? I mean, like, I would sell my body to science. I would auction my body to medical schools before I die, but for like billions of dollars, because that would be insane.
You could do a whole speaking tour.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it would just be such a freak of nature thing. I'd want to profit off it.
Well, without these heels, I'm about that size, so just keep on doing what I'm doing, I guess. I could steal money too, right? You could probably steal money from banks.
But it might be hard to lug like a roll of quarters around.
I could live off of a quarter for a long time, probably, though. Probably just, like all sorts of evil things that I'd never do at normal size that I really desperately want to do. I'd be like Cesar Pequeño in World Destruction.
What would I do? I guess I would train a dog and ride it like a horse. I think that would be pretty cool.
All right, you win.
That is the best.
Yes, you. Nice shirt.
Thank you. First, I have one request and then a question, if that's okay. Nathan, my really good friend in Utah would love if you would give her a shout out. She was really jealous that I'm here tonight.
Ah!
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, my question, what was your most memorable experience on set?
What was the question?
The most memorable experience on set.
I'll let you guys start.
Well, I was lucky in that I got to work with all the amazing guest stars. They you were basically by yourself, right? I never worked with Zach, not a single day. So for me, I got to meet a lot of people that I've always really admired. Like I got to work with Thomas Lennon and Carrie Kinney and Brett Gelman, like you saw, and Nick Kroll and Rob Corddry and on and on and on and on. So for me, it was
a great cast.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So for me, it was getting to work with like some of my comedy heroes. So every day was the most memorable day.
I, as a producer, I was there a bunch, just checking stuff out, even stuff I wasn't in, and but the stuff I was in was all green screen, so it was like just a black box studio that wasn't terribly exciting or interesting. But as an RC, does anybody like, as nerds, do you like to play with radio-controlled vehicles? Anybody? Nathan. I just get so excited about that stuff. So the days that Ryan was shooting like really cool action stuff, like even that Mars day, which we were sort of out in the desert, and I got control of that little dune buggy for like an hour and basically shut down production while Ed just had fun driving around in the desert. So yeah, all the toy stuff was just a blast for me.
Like Ed, I was in a green screen stage the whole time. I didn't get to work with any of our amazing guest stars or Gillian. We actually got to do a little bit together though. That was fun.
We have a great climactic fight scene.
Oh yeah, it's epic.
Sorry, I do want to just explain one thing. There was the break in the middle of that episode that you saw. That was actually 2 episodes. The episodes will air in pairs, and each pair sort of has a cliffhanger in the middle. So that's just a little bit of
FYI.
FYI I wanted to get out there. Go ahead, Zach.
Okay, yeah. But even on a green screen stage, I think one of the fun things that I found was you get to kind of be a kid because you have nothing. There's no other actor to work off of. We had like, it was kind of like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids moment for me. At one point I had these giant scissors. I was like, oh my God. And the safe. Can I tell them that?
Yeah, tell them about the safe.
There's a moment where I have to like crack into a safe, and we literally had a giant like what would you call that?
Dial.
Tumbler. Yeah, big. And I had to, and I'm teeny, so I'm log rolling it to undo the combination. It was amazing. But you get to use your imagination in a green screen stage, which can be difficult, but it can be like a really fun stretch and challenge, and we were like for a week, 2 weeks, like just going at it, and literally you're behind camera going, okay, and now you're on Mars, okay, and now you're over here, and now you're looking, okay, no, they're over here, no, forget that, no, they're not over there, they're over here. And we just got to roll and do it, and he's such a fun little character to play. That so I'm really grateful, by the way. Thank you so much for
it just worked out so great. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you, Mr. Ed Helms.
What about you?
Yeah.
Any memorable?
Well, for me, the experience of the shoot was so crazy and fun because it was all over the place. I mean, we literally had like 3 different kinds of shoots within it. We had some days where it was just we're shooting toys, bunch of RC guys, and we're doing stunts and just spending tons and tons of time doing all these crazy action sequences, pyrotechnics, stuff like that. And then the very next day, we'd suddenly have all these amazing actors on set, and we'd be doing this great, hilarious scene work. And then after that, then we got into the stage where everything that had come before it sort of came together, and of course we're furiously trying to like put things together and figure out, oh my God, are you looking left, are you looking right, or where did it land on that jump, and trying to basically build the whole story. So for me, it was so much fun having to kind of translate the experience of this really varied shoot and then feed it back to you guys in terms of what was happening and what we got. Because there are some things we wanted to get that we didn't get, but other things that we found along the way that were amazing. So.
Yeah, calling a lot of audibles, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Who's got a mic? Right here, right in front.
How do you think the show would change if instead of tiny Commando, you were oversized Commando?
Well, I'll just say there are many ideas kicking around for season 2, should it happen. Yeah, what would be...
Well, I wouldn't fit in any remote control cars, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that'd be really hard to shoot. I don't know.
There was a look in your eye that really scared me for a second.
I think we need to explore that.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be able to do any remote control stuff. Although, like, I love Ant-Man for that reason. Like, you know, you get to, well, at least now, you know, you get to play both those levels. Those levels. What the hell am I even saying? Who's got a mic? Sorry.
Wouldn't everyone else just be driving remote control cars?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
You'd be jogging along the side.
Spoiler alert.
You have to go down and
I will say,
talk into the car.
Spoiler alert, there was a lot of consideration about, like, the device that shrank Tiny Commando, which we might learn more about in a season 2, might, you know, inverse and make someone huge, and that would be, we would be dealing with, like, miniature sets and stuff, because part of the fun of, like, really part of the whole concept of the show is the campiness of the RC vehicles. You don't really believe that they're real, and the green screen doesn't look perfect, but that's part of the fun. And so if we were to just have, like, a diorama of a town and have Zach stomp through it, that would be awesome.
So season 2 is me as Godzilla. That's basically...
Well, I'm saying maybe an episode, perhaps.
I like that.
I like that too.
Who's going? Raise your hand. There you go. Yes, you're right there.
Okay. Firstly, I just want to say to Zach, thank you for organising all of this. Thank you for having a social conscience.
My pleasure.
Showing us that we can make a difference.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for coming.
And my question is, you guys have all appeared on network shows, blockbusters, Marvel blockbusters yet to come out. How did the filming experience compare to, say, some of those more intense, highly managed projects?
Well, the budget for this was about $100 million, right? We were doing about 100.
About.
For me, I mean, actually, you know what? Because of the green screen, we did a lot of green screen and stuff on Thor, and we've done a lot. We did a good amount on Chuck as well. So there's a lot of similarities. You know, I think it's more about the experience that you have with your crew and your cast. And although I didn't get to spend that much time with the rest of the cast, we had a really awesome crew, and we were just every day was, you know, it's a labor of love. If you're not there and you're not enjoying yourself, then you shouldn't be there. Let me tell you right now. So I had a really tremendous time doing it.
I've never been in a blockbuster. Very few of my films have come out, and a lot of them have underperformed, guys. So I don't appreciate that. So for me, this was more of the same. We shot one day at a former chemical plant in Pasadena, and they set up our hair and makeup and wardrobe in a room, and then this man came in and said, I told them not to put you guys in there. We had a really bad spill, so if you start to feel any sense of vertigo or nausea, maybe you want to walk out. And we looked down, and there was, in fact, a large stain on the carpet, so they moved us eventually. You know, but like Zach was saying that I think we all signed on because we loved the idea and it was really exciting and fun, and so you just got to roll with the punches. But yeah, there's not a lot of glamour involved. But yeah, once again, I got to work with people I've always wanted to work with. So, you know, you try and keep the complaining to a minimum or internalize it as much as possible.
Ed?
Well, I agree. I think you made a great point. I mean, the biggest difference between a $80-100 million blockbuster and a little tiny web production like this is the quality of the food and the comfort of your trailer. That's like the biggest difference, because at the end of the day, you're still just kind of in front of cameras trying to make funny stuff happen and trying to work with, trying to collaborate with your fellow cast members, and of course the crew headed up by someone like Ryan, and we got so lucky. I think a lot of times on small productions like this, you can kind of get boned with crews that are inexperienced or kind of out to lunch, and we had a great collaboration with this production company, Kids at Play, in L.A., and Ryan was just steered it like a champ. And so it really felt, I don't know, like just labor of love in the trenches, trying to make some funny stuff.
Which, by the way, I think that one of the great things about the internet is that it's allowed us to do that. It's allowed creative types to basically go, I got an idea, and I want to go make that idea, and I want to go give it to people. And you can do that. It's really fun. Who's next? Yes.
Hi. I just want to say that this is really cool with the remote control cars. I remember when I was like 10, I bought my sister a remote control car from a garage sale for like $5, $10, and it was like the best Christmas ever. And I was so excited to give it to her. My question is, I'm sure you probably use a lot of cameras like on the remote controls or things like, what was the technical aspect of that, and what were also some of the benefits or cons of using like the low angles or smaller things?
I'll take this.
No, Ryan, let me.
Zach, you wanna? What'd you think of those GoPros?
No, go.
Okay.
Oh, GoPros are awesome.
Yeah, we shot on Red, on an Epic and a Scarlett for most of the photography, and then we used a bunch of GoPros, the new GoPro 3 Blacks or whatever they're called, which were really pretty good. I was worried about using them, but I mean, as you saw in that sequence with the rover and the buggy, that's probably 50% GoPro shots. And they cut in really well. It's surprising. There's sort of, it was a little frustrating. We kind of wanted a camera that was in the middle between the Reds and the GoPros. It's when you're shooting, when you're telling a story about such short people, you're always struggling to get the camera low. I mean, it was a constant problem of how do we get the camera low enough? The camera's always upside down. We're always like building up a set in the foreground so we could have the camera, 1 inch above the floor. It's actually really, really hard to pull that off. And it would have been ideal to have a camera that was a little better, that was smaller than a Red, but it worked out in the end. So.
Can you add to that the part that I didn't anticipate and I thought was so cool when I showed up to the sound stage where we were doing all the green screen work? We spent about, I don't know, a few weeks or a month shooting all of the live action, the full-size live action stuff with Gillian and our wonderful guest stars. And those are basically plates that are then used for the green screen work for Zach. And what was so surprising to me when we got to the stage was that the camera would be like 100 feet away to shoot Zach, and it's because we had to match camera angles and focal lengths.
Yeah.
And it was a whole level that I didn't even expect. But
Yeah, it was a funny shoot because we shot all the plates and all the live action stuff. And then we sort of had to work our way out of that with all of the green screen stuff and all the studio portion. So yeah, that was really crazy because there was also so much. We shot 6 different stories, and so many action sequences. Each story has at least 2 action sequences, and so yeah, we had to kind of work our way through these massive logs of 35 millimeter lens, -2 degrees, 20 feet to...
Yes, so if Zach is standing 4 inches tall right there, and you film it from here, then when you get into the green screen stage, you have to put the camera like 100 feet away,
yeah.
200 feet away.
Yeah, we were pretty good
I
about
find that interesting. And Ryan just was it's like crazy. You have to do algebra and calculus just to figure it out. And and good stuff.
Yeah, Tiny was 1/18th scale. That's what we decided.
FYI. Yes, you right there.
So I really love when people decide to take what they're passionate about and ideas they have and just go ahead and make them without waiting for like a studio or someone to let them do it. If you could make any project and have like friends or special guests come, what would you do?
I mean, that's a pretty open-ended question right there. Let's start down to Ryan.
Yeah, that is pretty open-ended.
I do a talk show with dogs.
We would.
A bark show.
Yeah.
Want to go in on it?
Would you really?
I don't know. Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm interested. I like dogs. I think the internet likes dogs too. So That and maybe with like Cats as like the band.
I like that.
I would do well. This is that for me. This show. So what else would I do? Probably. And I know it's a little. It might feel a little bit like an overlap, but I've always dreamt about doing a talk show for cheetahs.
They're a gentle cat.
Yeah.
They are a very gentle cat.
Cheetahs never prosper.
Oh, cheetahs? Oh, God. He said cheetahs never prosper. I love you. You know what I always wanted to do, and I'm surprised that it hasn't really happened, or I don't necessarily see it happening that much. It's kind of happened in the past with television, but one of the things I love about comic books so much is that, and they're doing them with the Marvel movies, which is why Kevin Feige is a kind of a genius, and why I think the movies have done as well as they do. But when you have those worlds that collide and interlap, or overlap and intertwine, and I always wanted to do. I would love to have like a slate of television shows that are all kind of their own world, but they are all constantly spilling into one another's shows. And so when you're watching, like,
TGIF.
well, yes. Yes, absolutely. I mean, there were moments when we were all on NBC together, because we were all on NBC together at the same time.
Hey, guys. Bum, bum, bum.
And I would literally think about, like, it would be really kind of fun if, like, Chuck just happened to pop up. Actually, Chuck did pop up in an episode of The Office. I was a cardboard cutout.
That's right.
Yeah, but even like on Community, or I remember. Oh yeah, totally. Or yes. When we first came on the air and we were with Heroes, that our first season, their second season, and I always thought, this would be friggin' awesome if Chuck just happened to pop in and fly around. I don't know. So I think that's not a specific answer for a specific show, but I would love to have a world like that and have it all thought out, and like have characters doing it. Because like in comic books, I remember like I would read Spider-Man and then all of a sudden there was a crossover with Hulk, and then it would also kind of mirror that in Hulk's side. So you'd see a little bit of Spidey in his, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, why don't people do that more? So that's what I would do. Who's gonna? Oh yeah, feel free to clap. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. I don't know. Yes, you have a mic.
Hi, you guys are, again, three of my favorite shows as well, and my friends and I just quote them all the time.
Thank you.
Laugh and laugh. My question, I'm just really curious to know, are there any funny or embarrassing moments in your careers, like when you were just starting out, that you could talk about?
Yeah, let me dive right into those.
What a deep well. How long do you have?
Sorry, I was just checking the time, make sure we don't go over. The very first job I ever got, I was doing a pilot for a multi-camera comedy. It was, I had never done television before. I had only done stage. I didn't really realize that you had these things called like marks that you have to stand on. They're very specific because you have cameras. You're not like in theater. It's like I was standing by the couch. I was in the vicinity of, in the big pool of light. And you have very specific marks, and you also have stand-ins. You have people that will come in when they're lighting that scene. You've rehearsed it, you've done it, they know the movements, and then you have people stand in. And on a pilot, like on a show when you've done it for a while, everybody knows everybody, the DP knows the stand-ins, all that stuff. But on a pilot, everyone's brand new, so a lot of times stand-ins will wear a sign around their neck that says, basically like your character name. So, first job ever. And we rehearse the scene. And then and they're like, okay, great rehearsal, that's great. All right, we're gonna light it. And I'm just totally I'm like, oh yeah, great, light it. That sounds great. Whatever you're doing. And I see these people walk out with our character names on their chest, and I swear to God, I thought I was being fired and replaced. I was like, oh, give me another shot, man. Give me another shot. And then when they came back, because after you light, you get those really specific marks that they've now made, and now we're going back through it, and I'm still not hitting my marks, and I felt like a doctor who like had somebody who come in with like like doctors have like their whole book of medicine, like just in case somebody comes in, they're like, what the hell was that? Like I don't even know what the hell that was. And that's what I felt. I was like, I was bullshitting the entire time, trying to make them believe like I knew what I was doing, and thank God they didn't fire me. But that would be an embarrassing moment.
I'll never forget doing stand-up in Levittown, Long Island, and I was not very experienced, and I was just so eager for stage time, and I was getting heckled. I mostly did stand-up in New York City, but I got this gig out in Long Island, and I was like, I gotta take it. It's stage time, and I get out there, and it's like 500 people in this huge comedy club, and I was just not equipped. And someone starts heckling me, as they do on Long Island. It's part of the culture, and I was not very equipped to handle hecklers, and I was like, "What are you, a brain surgeon?" And the guy was literally a brain surgeon at like Long Island Medical Center, and he just took me on and eviscerated me, and I walked off stage and wept, and here I am.
Oh, let me think. How many of them have there been? One time, let's see. Oh, God, so many horrible things have happened to me. One time, when you first graduate, usually from acting school, you sign with like a commercial agent and like an agent for film and TV work. And so the commercial agent was sending me out on a lot of like print modeling jobs, which I didn't get any of them. And so they said, oh, there's this photographer. He's looking for new faces for the upcoming season. Go to this address. You go there. There's all these men, all these women. And we're all just sitting around waiting. None of us know what it's for. And they're calling you, in groups of 5. And finally we get called up. And he's like taking test shots of us and going, okay, great. Well, I just want to show you a book of my work. And he starts flipping through it, and it's all romance novel covers. And I just got this terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach. And so they took your picture, and they were supposed to then also get your name and information. And I just walked out so that they didn't have any identifying information with my photo. But guys, I could have been on the cover of a romance novel. Maybe.
To this day, they're wondering, where is that mystery woman?
She was the best cover model we've ever seen.
They were just desperate for me. I mean, just like foaming at the mouth for my modeling skills.
The one who got away.
Ryan, do you have any embarrassing beginnings?
Well, the good thing about directing is nobody really knows what you're doing. So when you make huge mistakes, you can always cover your tracks. You're like, I got an idea. That we don't need a close-up in that scene. I'm saying 2 hours after we wrapped it, and I realized I forgot to get the close-up. I'm like, we don't need that. So let's just I got a new idea. We're gonna rework it. We're gonna do some, and you come up with something. So yeah, I think production in some ways is free fall, mistakes, and constantly inventing.
Good to know. You're fired.
I had a director open up his laptop and start typing as I was reading the scene that I was auditioning for. And then he was very clearly bored with my performance. And so he went like this, like speed it up, get it over with faster. But then I felt kind of vindicated because about a month later, my manager sent me an article from the New York Post that he'd thrown a chair at a woman at a nightclub. So then I felt like maybe I got off easy.
You did. Who's got a mic? Right there, you, sir.
I am older than dirt, and I remember the old Buck Rogers movies. And so when I saw your short there, that's what I immediately remembered and recalled. So the question is, are you going to do more real fake stuff? Or pull our legs?
More real fake stuff?
Or are you going to get really serious on us?
Oh.
First of all, wonderful shout out to Buck Rogers. Formative influence on me as a kid. I'm not sure what the question is exactly. What are we going to do more?
You mean in the tone of it? Is it going to be stuff that's more dramatic and serious, or is it always going to be a little more kind of campy
Well, when
and
you
fun?
watch Buck Rogers, you knew the rocket was fake.
Right.
Right. And in this case, we know some of it's fake. So are you going to try to get more fakey?
Are you going to go
That's a great
CGI?
question. We actually, Ryan and I had a lot of conversations about how fake is funny, and then how fake just looks dumb, looks bad, and is distracting. And so, there are ideas. There was one idea for an episode where Tiny Commando has to chase a security guard who's riding a Segway, and he would jump onto the Segway, but he would jump on the wheel, and so he would be like spinning. He'd be holding onto the wheel and spinning by accident. And so the idea was like, so clearly we would just tape a doll to the wheel and shoot it practically, and not green screen Zach in that way. And there was a similar conversation about a zip line sequence where we thought, do we put a doll on a real zip line and shoot that practically? We wound up green screening Zach, and it looks great. But it's a great question because a certain amount of campiness is funny, but if it goes too far, then it looks like you didn't put any thought or work into it. But we're always riding that line.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, on this budget level, we were always just trying to make it as good as we possibly could, and we knew that the limitations of time and money would create sort of a great kind of campy style where the real meets the hokey.
But there was also a real concerted effort to shoot practically live as much as we could with miniature vehicles and miniature sets and things, because I just think that stuff looks cool. It looks really fun.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually, in some ways, was like one of the bigger kind of, I don't know, I mean, philosophical is too big a word, but it's kind of like was the big question in my head for this show when we started doing it, and what it would be like some of those times when we did use a doll. How that would feel cutting between Zach and that action stuff, that miniature stuff. And it's actually wonderful. It's so much fun.
Of all the words that I thought that would come up on a Tiny Commando panel, philosophical is not one of them, but I so appreciate that it did. I would also say, by the way, about Buck Rogers, I'm not, although I didn't really see the show, it was quite some time ago, was it not?
Yeah. Early 80s.
Yeah. So not that long ago.
I'm old. I'm as old as clay, not quite dirt.
But were they going for camp, or were they actually trying to make it look really real, and they just had a very limited budget? Maybe you can speak to that.
It's both. I mean, it's honestly, it's a more professional version of what we're doing.
Okay.
Which is like in a sort of wink. There's a little wink to it, but
gotcha.
It's not.
I always thought they were trying to convince us it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Buck Rogers.
I think at the time they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they were. Yeah, we're not entirely, but kind of. Yeah, but yes. We got time for maybe two more. Right here. Yes.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for just indulging our questions in general, even how small. But I'd like to wonder if, since Nathan Fillion's right over here and sitting around and just watching you guys intently, apparently.
Can we, by the way, can you guys thank Nathan for helping me host this stuff? He's so good. All right, that's enough. What's your question, sir?
Well, my question is, if you would put him in Tiny Commandos, and if you do, what kind of character would you put him as?
First of all, of course we would be thrilled to have Nathan in an episode of Tiny Commando. I would just want to be involved in the contract negotiations because I would insist on paying you $1 billion. Thank you very much. But it would be an honor to have Nathan on the show, and we would collaborate and figure out.
Who would you want to play? A baddie or a goodie?
I would be also very small, but born into it. I came by it naturally.
So you don't have a chip on your shoulder or anything?
I'm in show business. I'm probably jaded. I'm taking your idea that making a do like.
By the way,
motivational speaking. Be big inside. I have literally crashed every one of your sets when you guys are filming. I've crashed The Office. I've crashed the truck. I've crashed Community. So I would have to crash.
You would,
one. Yeah, it's tradition now.
Well, you've just told everybody you're going to do the show, right?
That's what I did.
All right, we just got to get a season 2.
Legally binding.
One more. I hope that answered your question. One more. We got somebody point. Stand up. There you go. Hi.
First off, I wanted to say hi to Nathan. Thank you for stopping at the corner yesterday and taking that self picture with us. Really made our day.
Don't tell everybody.
I'm just saying. It was really, really great.
In fairness, I stop at every corner.
It was actually very, very gracious, and thank you very much for doing
Cheers, cheers.
To the cast, how did you guys convince each other to do this kind of amazingly crazy kind of project and get these amazingly
what's the
people,
pitch?
involved? Yeah, what's the pitch?
I don't know. Honestly, like, the first step was to get Ryan on board, because Ryan has such a great reel, and he's done some really great work and a lot of miniature cool stuff. You should check out his personal website, actually. And then once I had that, I was able to reach out to some of these guys some of whom I knew better than others. I didn't know Gillian very well at all, it's the generosity of these guys that brought it all together. It's the sort of collaborative spirit, and I think being able to say, we got this great director, this really fun, incredibly stupid and juvenile idea.
But philosophical.
Yeah. And, there are a lot of people that are saying, in my orbit, that are saying, like, don't spend your time on that. We do this. Look over here. There's other big, exciting. But this is the stuff that's really fun and really personal, and you can really put some heart into it. And I think that when you approach people with that, when that's what's behind it, and I can say to Zach, and I can say to Gillian, and I can say to Nick Kroll and Tom Lennon, and all these guys, and my buddy Rob Corddry, this is fun. Do you want to jump on this train? Like, we're all just putting in a lot of effort to make something silly because we like the idea, and people say yes, and that's a wonderful thing. And it speaks to the I don't know, the collegial nature of the comedy community. I think when people come at something from a place of genuine love of material and a love of collaboration, and being able to say to Gillian, for example, like, you could do what you want. Like, once we get you there, the script is not, it's really a starting point. I don't know. That's a long-winded answer, but I think it's a fun, it's sort of, the idea hopefully kind of speaks for itself, and the community coalesces.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah, I just want to say, it's also the freedom you get with online. I've done a lot of Adult Swim shows, and I mean, they give us so much freedom. But when we don't even have the constraints of the length of the episodes, and they can just be what they're going to be. I mean, we have so much freedom to.
They're coming for you.
Yeah, oh boy. Anyway, so I think it's part of it too.
Wonderful.
If we have a little something. I want to answer that, but I also wanted to point out we have a little something to sign. I think it's right on the table next to you. Is there something on the table next to you in a box?
There is.
What's in the box? What's in the box? we have these little tiny Commando helicopters, and there's about 6 of them or so. We're all going to sign them. You can start signing it here if you want to, or we can sign it back in the. We're going to auction those off for Operation Smile this weekend. So if you guys please go up to the concourse and. Yeah. And we have helicopters for you. But really quick before we wrap up, because we do have to wrap up, but I just want to say that it's a 2-part process when you're trying to, get your dreams to come true and make something happen. And I can attest to that, by the way, with making Nerd HQ. And I told you last night, and I tell you again today. Nathan paid me a very kind compliment last night and said, "Man, this is so great what you've been able to build." And I said. Thank you, but this would not exist if it were not for the support of people like you and like Alan and like Joss and like everybody that goes and supports your dream, right? And so to that extent, I would say that Ed and I did not know each other that well when you came to me. We kicked around and we'd see each other at NBC events and whatnot. But I've always just been a big admirer of your work. I think you're incredibly talented and you had a really good idea, but it was also that he's a really good dude. Like he was a guy who I didn't know that well, but he was always like just down to earth and transparent, and he's really freaking funny and talented. And so when that guy calls you, not the douchebag, not the asshole, not the one who's like who literally like at a moment it's like, hey, will you come and do this thing? It's like, no, I don't want to do your thing. I don't care how much money you're paying or how cool it is, but when we're working for Red Vines and Beef Jerky on a green screen stage because of a really excellent man and a great idea, that's what you do. Let's hear it for these guys. Let's all take a picture.
Nicely done, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you guys very much. Nicely done, folks. Our ushers, thank you. Our ushers are going to have you guys stand one row at a time, so don't everybody just get up at once. Just stay seated. Our ushers are going to have you file out nice and easy. If there's a fire, I'll throw a chair through this window. You guys can be right behind me. Nicely done, you guys. Have a great day.
All right, folks, do me a favor. Please stay seated. The 2 back rows that are back by the concrete blocks, I need you to stand up on the back side also. Everybody sit down, please. Stay seated. The 2 back rows. It's the 2 back rows. All right, here's how we're going to do this.